Welcome back to Hendo's Hot Topics, the podcast to distract your mind. Real people and their stories, raw and uncut.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Hendo's Hot Topics. Hope you're doing well, hope you're loving yourself, and of course I hope you're having an amazing day. So, we've got one of the boss man in the house, two-time King of the Ring champion, and bro, I'm just going to say it, put it on the universe, future UFC champ of the world, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Navajo Stirling, how's it going, brother?
All good, bro. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mean, bro. Let's big question to start off. Be honest, how's life been lately?
Life, honestly, has been pretty good. It's like never amazing all the time. You know, I think you always have like your ups and downs. My downs being like stagnant. I don't like the stagnant. You know, when people are like asking me, like, "Oh, what's going on?" And you're stagnant. You're like, I don't even know. You know, like, I'm not too sure. And you feel that pressure, like, everyone's like, just get in the UFC already. You know, I'm like, man, I'm doing the best I can. You know, I'm trying, but yeah, sometimes that gets me down a little bit. And then, you know, funds as well. Like, we're fighters, you know, so, and we're not like, I think everything outside of like a big promotion like the UFC or something, there's no like, you're not getting paid enough to live on fighting. So you gotta work, you know.
Yeah,
you gotta work. You gotta do the dirty jobs, you know, whatever it is you do. I did like forklifting for a long time. That used to take the hell out of me. I think when I first moved to Auckland, because I did like warehousing when I was in Wellington, and that was like all good for like your 9 to 5, and then I'd go train. But then when I come to Auckland, like everything's like the demand for like work was just way too much. Then when you're working like 40 to 50 hours a week, you know, people don't really understand. They're like, oh, I'm trying to chase this fighting dream, you know, and they're like, oh, the company I worked for when I first got here was real good. The boss was actually they were real supportive of what I did. So even though I had to work hard, I still did that, and then they helped me kind of. Oh, they just helped support and just were understanding of what my real passion was. So they never really held me back as much as possible. Yeah. And then, but yeah, that was a hard time, man. I was working like from 1 p.m. going through to like 11:30, 10 to 11:30 at night. It was really like I used to load trucks, so I'd be loading these trucks, and like sometimes the trucks that were supposed to go to these areas haven't even arrived yet from the other destination they just came from. Yeah. So like everyone else that I'm working with, my staff, they're all like loading all their trucks, and then my guy hasn't rolled up till like 11:30, and I've got training at like 6:30 in the morning. So I'm like, bro, I just did a hard workout today, you know. I got my conditioning in the morning. Like, what am I supposed to do, you know? I'm like, I didn't want to. I kind of like my pride. Like, I hold myself high. I didn't want to be the guy, like, ditching off and all the time. So I tried to, there were some nights I tried to stay back and help out. But, man, that was horrible. That was, like, when I first got here, and it was, like, the second I just joined City Kickboxing. I moved from Wellington. I got this job, and I jumped straight into a fight camp going for my second King of the Ring title. And obviously, like, because I wasn't from City Kickboxing, I wasn't used to the way they trained and their conditioning, and I didn't know if it worked for me. I had new coaches as well, so I had to get used to that. I wasn't used to, like, the style, and I had to adapt, and I was training every day, every morning with Doug Viney, who's like, you know, runs a tight shift, and I didn't want to disappoint him. Like, I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't feel like training today, like, because I wanted to make an impression, like, nah, I can push through this. I'm a fighter, you know. I'm not a guy calling in sick every day. And, bro, I was finishing, like, 11:30 at night, getting up at 6:30. I was training at 6:30, and that was, like, the worst fight camp I'd ever had. Like, it got to a point, like, going into that second 8-man where I was like, I don't even care if I won this. Like, I just wanted to be over. And in my first fight, I managed to, like, get it going real quick, and that kind of set the tone. And then I was like, right, I feel on, like, and then after that I kind of just like picked up the momentum off each fight and managed to get the win. But man, that's a hard life, like trying to work full time and then train as well. And that was just kickboxing. Like MMA is a whole nother game. Like kickboxing is kind of easy because you're like hitting pads, you know, you're going through the motion, you're doing light drilling, but people don't realize that MMA is just like all live wrestling, grappling. Bro, your body gets like sore as. I wasn't used to it. And I think last year was like the most injuries I'd ever had in a year. Like, and I had to like make a change to try and like look after my body.
Yeah.
So this is when I came out of full-time work. I found a job working as like a trainer and like covering like reception for a YMCA. And bro, that's been mean. Like I'm making like minimum wage on like 20 hours, and that's like just paying my rent, you know. And pretty much, I was going into the fight like broke as, and I just remember being like, oh, I won the fight. I won the fight, and I just did a big call out. I was like, bro, like someone give me some sponsors, you know, like someone help me out. And that my coach was laughing at me. Yeah, he's like, this guy's crack up, you know. But it paid dividends. Like I had like two big good companies reach out to me. RPM, Reliable Performance Motors, shout out to them. And Kirkwood's Barbers, they helped me out as well. And they do a lot for the community, you know, as well, which that I've met from meeting them and working with them. They've helped me out heaps. And RPM managed to like suss me like a big, I won't say how much, but like they sussed me like
Helped
a big
you out.
pay,
Yeah,
big pay just to help, like a big one lump sum fee, as well as a car and paying like a gas card, which has been awesome.
I saw that video.
Yeah, bro. That was crazy, bro. And that's like getting the training is like your main priority. So that's that sussed, you know. I don't have to worry about that. In the barbershop, obviously, they always cut my hair and bleach it for me, so that keeps the look maintained, you know. And yeah, bro, like it's been mad. And then I like for like any bit of spending money, I usually like hold mitts and do like PT sessions as well. So that's like keeping me afloat, you know. But deep down, you're like, you see your friends that are your age, and they're making like big moves, and you feel left out, you know. You're like, man, I don't even know like how much money I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
Like doing this career, I'm just like trying to stay afloat, so I can train. But watching Israel and all them like makes me like think like, oh, this is a viable career, you know. Like I can push for this.
Gives you a perspective.
Yeah. And then like going over, because he flew me over for his 2 fights with Pahita.
Yeah.
One in New York and then one in Miami. And just, bro, being able to like fly his whole team out and having his friends and family, and bro, just like not having to worry about like, you know, money and stuff, and having good management. It's like kind of cool because like I don't know that stuff, you know. Like I only focus on fighting. I don't know anything about business or know anything about like funds, and I'm an idiot, bro. Like I'm a complete dumbass. So like I need people around me to help me, and just seeing like the team I'm with now and like the guys that are already there, I can definitely see like I'm in good hands. So I try not to like think about that stuff too much. You know? Because it is like like a bit of pressure, you know, going into your 30s or whatever it is you might be doing. You feel that pressure, like, oh, am I doing the right thing that I love doing?
But it also distracts you from your hustle, eh?
Yeah. It does, bro. Like I've thought about like doing side hustles, and then I like see that it's not like you actually have to put in a lot of time, and then that time takes away from what I really want to do. And I'm like, I can't do it. Like I can't do that. So you know what I said? I just said, burn the boats, you know, like you got to burn the boats. I've got no safety net. And yeah. My missus is kind of like, you know, like, oh, she's probably just looking at me as like an investment, you know. Nah, that's the best thing, but it's not like it's like the unknown glooms over you. I know you don't know what's gonna happen, but I got a good head for. I believe I'll be in a good place. So
Yeah, bro. I mean, and that's the thing is when it's a hustle, people get shied away real quickly.
Yeah.
Because they see the people who are at the other end of the spectrum and have hit their peak, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, why isn't this happening for me?
Yeah, yeah.
So they get shied away. But I think that's a good thing, because then it shows the people who really want it.
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
just who want it for the accolades and everything that comes with it.
Yeah. That's it. I just try to say to myself, like, just focus on your next fight. Just focus on your next fight, and then more opportunities will come. Like, fighting will get your name out there, and if you got like a good image, you look iconic, and you have, like, you enjoy speaking on the mic and whatnot. You'll get better at it. Like, I've gotten better at, like, doing like this stuff as well as like interviews. I was a real shy kid, bro. Like, I hated talking on camera or whatever it might be, but I found the more I do it, the better I get at it. And I feel like a lot of Kiwis like hate it, like I would always watch like post-fight interviews of all the New Zealanders or like rugby matches, and bro, you like go on there and it's like, yeah, all good, yeah, sweet, yeah, no, it was a good game, like, and then like people want to know who you
I saw
are.
interviews saying like, don't be so humble, like let the
like,
people know.
It's not being like humble. It's just like giving people something,
Yeah.
Man, I see people shy away, I'm like, man, that's your moment, I always tell the young fellas as well, like just get amongst it, bro. Put yourself out there. Like, I got heaps of friends and family that follow me. They want to know who one of my teammates are. They're like, bro, why doesn't he post anything? Or I'm like, oh, I don't know. I told him, but they don't want to do it. So I don't know. I think that's important for your career as an MMA fighter or any fighter. Like, you need to get on your socials or whatever. You need to negotiate. What is it? You need a network. Network with people. You never know who's going to help you out and whatnot. Who will put you on their platform that'll get you in contact with this guy, or I believe that helps out big time, eh?
It's that whole, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
And what can you lose from asking?
Yeah. And then everyone ends up getting like sour, people are getting sour about me, like all the opportunities I might be getting, it's like, bro, you ain't like going out there, you're not putting out the work. I just so happen to be able to win fights at the same time, so if you can do both, then you'll stay around. But content is king, like I've seen guys that like aren't even that good, like they do well because they put stuff out there for people, and they'll always be like a fan favorite or remembered for something. So it's a shame, when you see, because you see like real good guys that nobody even knows, but only the diehard fans know. But you want to get into the general public,
Yeah. I mean, look at Joe Rogan, content king, bro. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, bro, and he's always doing his thing. And then like people make like clips, like chop up his clips for people, that don't really want to watch it. I think like those short videos, like if you're making short videos, that helps as well. TikTok and Reels and all that stuff, like it's all good. It's all good exposure.
Yeah,
and it's free. It's free to do. That's it.
Yeah, bro. I want to ask, man, why do you love the sport? What is it about getting that ring, beating someone down that gives you that feeling?
Yeah. Bro, to be honest, I think like it's like a lot of it is to do with like my upbringing. Like I played rugby a lot, and I wasn't that good. I wasn't that good at it, but I used to hate because I didn't go to like a high-end school, like a private boys school, or I didn't have like I saw people that that weren't really good make it into like the top teams because they were the coach's daddy's son or whatever, like I'm sure there are a lot of like rugby players that can think of this like they know like, oh, I'm better than this guy, or this guy's trash, but he's getting the spot over me because he's mates with all these guys, or he goes to the school, he's got this amount of money, and it's a crap feeling, bro. It's you don't want to feel like that, and I had that feeling like a lot. Like I was like, oh, I don't get to make the first team or they got to sub me off because I'm not that good, and I used to hate that, bro. Because I'm a competitor, like deep down, I love competing. I was always like, whatever sport I played, I was always like too good for my team, or like I would be in like a low level team. But then anytime I played with superstars or like really, really good guys, I used to crumble because like I'd have to pass them the ball, or I had to like play a role, be a role player for them, you know.
Yeah.
And no one wants to be that. Like no one really wants to be a role player, you know. Some people don't mind it, but me, I want to be
You be your
like
own
the
player.
superstar, you know.
Yeah,
So
bro.
it was just like what sport out there is like for me, and I've always been good at like all ball sports, like rugby. I played basketball, volleyball.
Yeah.
You know, all those sports, like what's it called? And then when I come into fighting, I knew I couldn't fight. Like I knew I couldn't really like take shots. Like I was saying, like I didn't like getting hit to the face, but I was like, oh, I like doing this stuff. Like I'll give it a go, you know. And I remember like I started training in Christchurch, which is where I was working, and I just like was like, I think Connor McGregor was like a big dude like back then.
Yeah.
And this was when he was like prime, you know, like coming up, just beat Jose Aldo. I think it was like 2015. And I was like, bro, I've never heard anyone speak like this before. Like just saying like, stuff the world, I'm going for it. And then, you know, just like flatten everyone, you know. And that was like real inspiring for me because I'd always been around guys like, nah, you can't do it. You know, we live in New Zealand.
Yeah.
We live in New Zealand. There's no opportunities. You can't do it in New Zealand. Can't be. You got to go to the US, you know, or you got to have the top coaches in the world, and we don't have that in New Zealand, you know. And that's what I'd always been limited by. And I used to like listen to people. I used to be like, oh yeah, no, actually that is right. That is correct. And you know, it's not like they were talking bad, but they were trying to. It's like you get a lot of this. Whatever you're doing, people were trying to help you. But they're not really helping you because they're just like speaking from their own experience. You know what I mean? They'll be like, nah, actually, that's not a good idea, bro. Like, that won't happen. You want to do this, and if you do that, like, it's just too much admin, like, you know, or whatever it is, like, whatever kind of job you might be trying to do, like sport you're trying to play, like, people are trying to help you, but not really help you. Like, they just like put in bad thoughts in your head, you know. And I used to listen to that, so. What I did was I just went AWOL, you know. I didn't talk to none of my friends. I think I just hung out with one of my like really, really close friends that believed in me. I just hung out with him all the time, and I just kind of stopped hanging out with my mates, and I just went like kind of off the rails. Didn't talk to like. I just focused on literally just fighting, going to work and just fighting, and I didn't like because I had no fights, but deep down in my head, I like told myself like. I want to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how to get there. I don't even know if there's a path from New Zealand. But I'm sure if I just like train now and train up for a fight, I'll meet someone, and then I'll meet someone, and then if I keep meeting people, and this is what I did. I just I started off, had my first fight, and I was like, that's it. Like I want to be in the UFC. And I had like this novice kickboxing fight against a guy that was a beginner as well. But I just told myself like, I'm going to be the man, you know, but I never told, like, nobody, like, not even my parents and whatnot. I just was, like, I had, like, a burning fire in me, like, this is it for me, like, this is the sport. I'm, like, young, I've got a good age, I've got a good build, like, a good height, and I would, like, watch the top, like, I would watch, like, heavyweight, and I'd be like, oh, I'm the same height as these guys, like, I might not be as thick as them or as big as them, but... if I can put on like some size over the years, and I could probably get there like when I'm in my prime or whatnot. But I reckon I'll just start now. But yeah, I kind of kept that to myself. Like I didn't want to tell anyone unless they like kind of like put that doubt into me again. You know, like feed it into me. So I was like, nah, I had to keep it to myself. That one.
Yeah, that's mean, bro. And I agree on that fully. It's like when people don't work hard enough to achieve their dreams. They're not going to let you achieve yours. Like, not even going to let you experience it or anything that, nah, bro, it didn't work for me. There's no point in you trying.
Yeah, and they might be coming from a good place too, you know, but they might be trying to, like, stop you from making that mistake. But sometimes if you have that, like, feeling, hey, you just got to hold on to that and maybe just not tell everyone about like the moves you might be making, you know, because people will like want to jump in to say, oh no, don't do that. I did that already. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, if you know, you know, you just got to go for it.
Yeah.
Bro, now your Pro MMA debut was last year, 23rd of September.
Yep.
Bro, let's chuck us in your shoes.
Yep.
Yeah, the emotions, because I watched did a bit of my research, and you know,
Yep.
you said you want to experience that feeling in the ring, you know, that vibe. So what was that vibe like? That environment, did it exceed your expectations?
Yeah, the cage, because I'm a pro fighter. I've had a lot of fights, but I haven't had a lot of MMA fights. You know, and a lot of guys that are pro MMA, they've had like 6 or 8 amateur MMA fights. But I can't go and have that amateur MMA route, because I've just gone and smoked, 3 guys on one night in pro kickboxing. So, if you're an amateur trainer, like, people are asking me, like, why didn't you fight amateur? I'm like, bro, do you think any amateur's going to fight me? Like, coach will, like, they'll forward my name to them to amateur fight and be like, bro, I ain't fighting this guy. You know, this guy's a professional kickboxer, you know? So, I knew when I would win my first pro kickboxing bout, 8-man, I knew there was going to be no amateur MMA route. I was going to have to just start right in the deep end, which is all good, because like I've watched and like trained with guys like heavy UFC guys, and I'm like, you know, the skill gap ain't like far. They're not like pulling off no crazy subs, or it's nothing. It's very basic, but it's like strong basics and experience. So. I never really doubted, like, I don't feel like that much doubt in my MMA abilities, you know, even though I haven't been going for that long. I've got, like, real good coaches and good teammates. But, so when I'm going in there in the cage, it was like a different feeling, Like, I'm, like, go in and I realise I've got 4-ounce gloves on. I'm like hitting the pads and I'm like cracking it crazy, and I'm like, bro, this is like an unreal power. Like, if I get touched by one of this, let alone throw my own, it's going to be night, you know. So I just remember being like a little bit nervous, because I had to fight 2 weeks before that, and my shins were like banged up. I fought a Thai boxer from Aussie. And anyways, I was checking like some of his kicks, and he was a strong kicker, and he just kept kicking my legs. So I had to keep checking them, and my shins were just bashed. So I was like already without my favorite tools were my legs, and I had to kind of use my boxing and then my grappling. So I wanted to show off my grappling, and I wanted to get like more grappling experience. I knew I could finish the guy in a striking matchup, but I was like, nah, if I do that, I'm not going to get anywhere. It'll just be like having a kickboxing fight.
Yeah.
So why not like feel what it's like to take a guy down, feel like my cardio and see how strong I am going live, like full live with punches involved. Because when we're in training, you know, like we got like bigger gloves. We're only doing like a grappling round. We're not really adding in strikes. We're just it's not like that good. But then when you're in the proper fight, it's way different, bro. Like, I got on top, and I took the guy down. I got on top, and like I was just trying to pummel to get my arms free to throw punches. And I realized by the time I'd finished like doing that and posturing up to hit him, I was already gassed. I was bro, I'm like burnt out just from trying to get free. Because like, bro, you hit a guy down on the ground, on their life, they're like doing whatever they're gonna do to get up. Like, they're not gonna just sit there and let you like tee off on them. People will like hold your wrist with like a death grip, you know, with everything, bro. It's so you're just like, that's like the inexperience on my part, you know. I didn't know that, so it was good to know. So I banked in a lot of off that one fight. So
bro, a cage compared to a ring. You know, with a cage, did you actually feel like a caged animal? Like you just let loose, bro? Like it was just you and him and no one else.
Bro, it's a different energy. Like in a ring, you know, you get hurt, you take a knee, take your 8 count, get up, you know, brush it off, jump back in. Bro, you don't do that in MMA, you know. You take a knee, bro, the guy's going to rush you. You're going to get rushed. You might slip. You might not have even been dropped. but you might slip and then you might get finished on
bro.
just from being on your back. So that could mean everything is slipping. You might slip, get on the floor, don't know what to do after that. You don't want that. So
Get stomped in.
yeah, you'll get stomped in.
Yeah.
So that is daunting. Yeah, because I would always throw kicks. My balance wouldn't be that good. They just tip me over. All good, I get back up, But MMA, I'm like, oh damn, I can't fall over now. So yeah.
Bro, we got a question from a listener, and it's are you going to transition into MMA full time?
Yep. I pretty much have like all my training is MMA.
Yeah.
Even for like my past 3 kickboxing bouts, I did nothing but train MMA. I trained MMA and grappling.
Yep.
And literally, I think it was like maybe like the last 2 to 3 weeks of all my fights, I just hit a couple of pads and then was like, sweet, I'm all good. Like, I know that like I as a heavyweight, like as a big guy, the guys aren't like that technical. They're just trying to put hands on you, And when I'm going in there, I'm sparring, Israel Adesanya and Carlos, and like it's like very much chess match, But when I get in there, like sometimes coming out of training, I'm thinking about all these complex moves to do in my fight. But then you get in there, and you don't even need to be that complex. You just like add a couple of shifts, add a couple of feints, and they react to them like crazy,
Yeah.
But they're not like on the same like path as those guys, They're just trying to they're just heavy in the hands, trying to knock you out, and that's what you got to look out for. And you just go in. It's like that's why people think I make it look easy. I was like, I've got all these good training partners to thank, I just go in there and I'm like, I already know what they're gonna do before they've even done it, So I even hear like the other guys' coaches like, don't let them get going, like keep rushing them. But that's like people always try to rush me, so they're just doing the same thing as the other guy did, and I can just kind of go into my emotions, So yeah.
Well, with like Izzy and Dan and Kai and like Shane Young, bro, I think those kind of volumes of fighters and what I was going to ask if you've picked it off them, is just mastering the basics, not overcomplicating it.
Yeah. I think like obviously they're very complex in all their stuff because they're actually in the highest level of combat.
Yeah.
So they got like different styles to match up with. But like for me at the moment, like I'm trying to get to that level, but I'm still like fighting in the level below. So people are like, oh, like that's why I make it look a little bit easy. These guys are still real good though. Like, I've seen them fight other top guys and they make them look like nothing, And I'm far out. This guy looks real good, but then I go in there and I kind of like underestimate myself, like what I'm capable of as well. So yeah, it's a weird one, It's a weird one.
Bro, that leads me to asking you, what are you doing to not just be a good fighter, but a superstar?
Superstar, yeah. I like the sound of that, what am I doing? I've like pretty much like revamped my whole like way of thinking, like
Love
from how
that,
I used
bro.
to be.
Yeah.
How I used to be, and it's not like necessarily not being myself. I'll still be myself. I'm still like the shy guy, but I'm not. I'm just kind of. I've like observed like obviously Israel a lot. Like watch how he does things, and he's like super self-aware. Like he like knows everything about himself. He like knows all of like how he's feeling and whatnot. And I've always thought that's like crazy. Like and then I'm like real self-aware too. Like I know what I'm like good at. I know what I don't like. I know that I don't like confrontation or certain things. I know I try to treat like doing like podcasts and interviews. It's like exercise, It's like the more you exercise it, the better you'll get at it, The better you'll get at speaking and whatnot. So I've kind of just trained myself and like revamped my whole like way of thinking, how I used to be, and how I used to be like a real shy dude and didn't want to do this and didn't want to do that. But when coming into the sport that I like following guys that are like outspoken, and I'm like real drawn to like people who are really like out there and outspoken, even though I was never that myself.
Yeah.
And I always thought like maybe that's me, like wanting to be like that, but not being an idiot at the same time. You know, you never want to be an idiot, like a dumb. You know, that's like some people do too much. You know, they come away from who they are, but it's just. But I think it's just keeping the same like good people around you as well. You know, but yeah.
Well, that's mean, bro, because I wanted to ask, you know, how important is it for you with the people you surround yourself with, you know, like good people around you, does it play a part of who you are, or is it, you know, as a person, or you just full tit, head down, get the work done, and not let outside noise or people around you impact who you are?
Yeah. Well, because like I've always like had my family be like my number one supporters. So they've always helped me a lot, and then every person I've met in the fight game has been good. I've been fortunate enough to not be around like a lot of yes men.
Yeah, man.
You know, I feel like if you're a young fighter and you're training at a gym and all they're telling you is like, you're the man, bro, you're the man. You need a guy to like humble you. You need a coach that can tell you, no, you ain't shit. You're a bottom feeder like all of us, you know. That'll keep you level-headed. And then you can only really take criticism from like people with experience or people that have been in your corner for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
When I kind of set myself told myself like UFC superstar, you know, I kind of looked at the outside noise being a thing of like it's gonna be normal, so you're just gonna have to get used to it. Like there's gonna be out of like I don't know 100,000 comments, you know. You just gotta like know like it doesn't mean anything, you know.
Yeah.
Only the words from like your corner is gonna mean something. So if they got something bad to say, then that's what you would like. That's what I would take into account. Not these random people on the internet or people I don't even know, you know, that think they know everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you ran into any of that yet? You know, people thinking they're your coach or they know you better than you do?
Yeah, I've had people, like, I've met a person like, oh, you need to, like, work on this, or, oh, you did good, man, but you're like, I'm like, yeah, man, maybe I'll get there, you know, like, I'm like, yeah, it is what it is, you know. I got told from someone, I remember at a gym or something.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, like, I reckon you need more mongrel or something like that, eh? And I was like, yeah. Oh, me, I'll give it a go, bro.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, brother, you know. I mean, what are you supposed to say to that?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny, you know. You, like, laugh to yourself, like, oh, yeah, I see it. But I feel like there's, like, a lot of Kiwis, you know, that like, man, because people are, like, a backseat, you know, coaches, you know.
Yeah.
Or, like, armchair.
Like a
know.
backseat driver.
Yeah,
bro,
like, they're, like, you know, they get annoyed with the league player or this guy. They need to fire this guy, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, come on, you know. But fighting's different. It's not like a game of rugby. Pick it up next week.
Yeah, but
it's like, bro, you got 15 minutes, and you got to make those 15 minutes count. Otherwise, you don't. You could be off for 5-6 months to your next one. You know, so it is like when you go to perform, you need to perform. You know, you can't show up. If I had my lucky pants on. If I had my lucky undies on, I would have done good. Like, bro, there's nothing like that.
It's like you said at the start, bro. You either fall in or you're not. You can't 50-50 it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, people making comments like that to you, what you just said there, I think that's almost good because it just proves, like you said just before, that you're not showing your full potential. You know, you're not giving everything away. Yeah. There was a quote I saw before we started, and it was, you know, just be careful whose ears are on, because not everyone's a supporter. Yeah. And that's 100%. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's your goals, your next move. Sometimes you just got to keep it to yourself. Yeah. And you just got to hustle, and you just got to work hard, and sometimes prove yourself wrong. Yeah.
Let the work show, like. Yeah. You got to let the work show. People will like, they kind of have to respect the work you put out. Like, you put out, not like what you tell everyone. Yeah, bro. But if you're going around telling everyone, like, I had a lot of mates like that tell me stuff like, oh, I'm doing this, like, cool, bro, you know, like, mean, like, that's mean for you, like, but like, you know, but then I see you doing something else on the other week, you know, like, it's inconsistent, you know. Yeah. But like, you just keep showing up, consistent work. Like, I've got like my hometown, in Upper Hutt, people like always like bro, each year I hear about you getting like up and up and up, and it's like crazy. Like people that I haven't caught up with in a long time, you know. I'm not telling everyone about it, you know. I'm just fighting, and it's just coming up, you know. So
yeah, people are doing the talking for you.
Yeah.
That's cool, bro.
So that's it, bro. I just focus on fighting. Yeah.
Bro, Eugene said to you, you just give me 2 to 3 years, and you're there. You know, was that being told that, was that a high expectation on yourself? Did it kind of daunt you a bit?
Legit, I was thinking like 6 years, you know, like when I came, I think I was 23, and you know, I was like, I'm gonna be like ages later, but I think it's just like the route to light heavyweight is a lot different. Like if you're looking at like a lightweight, obviously that's a killer division, you know, like there's monsters everywhere at lightweight, guys that are literally like good everywhere. They like black belts with like 100 kickboxing fights, you know what I mean? Like, and that grew up NCAA wrestling or something, you know, something ridiculous. There's like, I've seen some insane martial arts backgrounds at lightweight. Like it's a freakish one, but light heavyweight and heavyweight seems to be like more of like an athletic division. Like there's a lot of like freak athletes, not the best like skill, but they're like just got crazy knockout power and speed, and you know, they just waltz through guys or put on like crazy performances. So I always found like me being a little bit more skilled, still athletic. I wouldn't say I'm the most athletic, but I still feel like I carry myself in that department, as well as like being a little bit more technical than most of the big guys. I feel like I can kind of take the weapon out of their hand and just be me, the only one having it, and then I can just go out and just like, you know, make my way with these dudes, you know. So that's what I feel like I bring to the table at light heavyweight, and why the gap for me to make it there will be a lot smaller, as well as like, you know, like I was saying before, like just being a superstar, you know, that's what they want. They want like big personalities. They want like iconic characters to come in. Like I follow like Sugar Sean O'Malley, Paddy Pimblett. Like I don't just follow them, but everyone knows them. But I like watch what they do.
Study them.
I study them, and I don't try to be anything like them, but I like what they do. They like meet up with like other big, you know, influencers out there, or they do like a lot of content videos. They're on all platforms. They have like merchandise. You know, it really like helps their brand, you know, and I feel like that's what I'm trying to get into. I don't know how to get there, but I'm sure like I keep talking about it to like people, and people are trying to help me. So that's like cool. And also like I'm not rushing it too much. Like I'm still not even in the UFC. I'm just doing all of that stuff because I haven't got any fights. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do while I'm waiting? You know, so I'd instead of sitting around waiting, I'm just like, well, maybe I'll just try and raise my profile a bit, you know, while I can. And then I try to get as much content from every fight. Sometimes when I fight now, I just try to make a highlight reel. I'm I'm already like picking shots together. I'm like, oh, this will look good. You know,
while you're fighting?
Yeah, while I'm fighting, bro. You know, like.
Think of that.
Well, not really.
20
like,
seconds into the round.
Not really. Sorry, that sounds a bit like daft. I don't really think about that. I just try to think of like the ring experience at the time, like getting the ring experience and trying stuff. But then after the fight, I'm like, oh, that's a good fight. Like, like this would be good, like to build a highlight reel, as well as like if I fight in pro MMA, like if I go out and just start everyone in the first round, bro, no one's really gonna know how good you are. You know, they're like, oh, well, he starts 4 bums, you know. But if you go out there, and people will call them bums because you've just starched them, you know. But they might have been really, really good guys. But if you just focus on getting the ring time, I reckon you get so much more out of the fights. That was what my old coach told me. Like, bro, if you can get more ring time, you know, like you can get levels above in just a short amount of fights. So that's like ideally what I try to do, is just get that experience, you know. And
it builds that self-confidence, eh?
Yeah,
you feel more comfortable within yourself.
Yeah, so I'll be like 3 or 4 fights in, but if I have like those 4 fights are good, I'll go into their next fight like, real confident. Like, man, I can take it anywhere, to the mat, to the stand up, and whatnot. I've had wars, like that'll be that's all just good experience banked.
Yeah, man, bro.
I think that's important as a fighter.
Yeah. I don't want you to share too much, so I'm going to reword the question and ask, where should we expect to see you in the next coming year? Rather than where you want to be.
If not in the UFC, about to be. Yeah, that's all I can really say, about to be. Probably looking at a couple more MMA fights. I actually don't know. Like, it's really whatever my coaches have planned for me. But they know I'm, like, up there, They see the work I do and whatnot. I just think, it's just getting the fights. That's all it is, getting the fights. Getting the fights, and then we'll be there.
Yeah, getting that cage time, like you said.
Cage time, man. And they don't come often, the MMA fights don't come often. So I got to, that's another reason, I got to make a lot of it look good while I'm in there in the ring, I got to get that ring time because I need to build some sort of highlight reel to present, you know what I'm saying? So having obviously the kickboxing background helps too. But hopefully soon.
Mean, bro. Your debut for the UFC, okay?
Yep.
What's your walkout song gonna be?
Probably what I've always used.
Okay,
I've always used. It's like a Viking, like kind of like a war song. You can hear. I think it's on some of the Viking episodes.
Yeah.
The TV series. I remember hearing it on like Connor McGregor promo. That's why I picked it. And I was trying to find the song, and then I picked it. What I like about it is because my favorite kind of movies growing up was like Troy, Gladiator, Vikings, obviously, just like all those kind of like war movies, those like get me going. Like, it's just my niche, I love those kind of movies. And then that kind of was like, this kind of like gives me the sort of image that I like, kind of the iconic superstar look that I try to portray. Like, maybe not like I'm not like a no clown, or like I'm not like funny guy or anything, I'm not like crazy funny guy, but I try to figure out like what was like my brand sort of like image, I would try to go for like the heroic like warrior sort of kind of niche, like people that would find that cool or whatnot. Like I try to relate to
the people's
them.
fighter.
Yeah. Just like someone who's like a warrior, like I always thought that was cool. So I try to like come at more of a serious approach. It was like most guys that come out like, I think Bam Bam, like Tuivasa, he comes out to like, I'm a Bobby Gill, that could never be me, bro. Like, if I come out like that, bro, people will be like, what the hell? Because they're supporting like what I would normally have, like, like being like the warrior, and then I come out to like some funny stuff, like, bro, everyone's like, people will be like, oh, bro, like, we liked you for what you were for, so that's another thing, you don't want to be switching up your image all the time, so, I try to come like with the more serious kind of niche, and that's why that song like kind of gets me going. I remember like I've been playing that song since like my first fight, like my first amateur fight.
Yeah.
So like it kind of like for me it feels cool. Like if I was to play like the song that I've always had. And then another thing is I've never heard anyone play anything like it. It's like original.
Yeah.
I've never been to a fight show where anyone's had like anything like my stuff. So that's another thing. Like I've heard plenty of Tupacs and Biggies, and Tupac hit 'em up. I've heard them all. I've heard all the gangster stuff. But when I come out and fight, I come out of my own original like sort of war song.
Yeah.
So like people are like, whoa, that's sick. I've never heard anyone play that. Bro, and like even like coming in through the amateurs, bro, I'd play it and I'd come out like second. Bro, like some of them look like they lost the fight like just as soon as I come out to the song, So they'd like be like, oh, far out, like what the hell is this? What kind of song is this? Guys would be like, if they're fearing for their life in there, I could see it in their eyes because I like to look like deep in the eyes and like be like, you know, you ready to fight?
Yeah.
And I could see them like looking all away or looking shy, or I'm like, bro, I'm gonna run through this guy, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe like they come off like really friendly, you know? But I'm like, I'm there to kill, you know? Like I'm there to like send this guy.
You're there to
so-
fight, bro.
Yeah, I'm there to send this guy. I'm not there to be the mates. But yeah, that's a crack up one there. Like after the song, I just saw like some people like, oh Jesus, you know. And some people come like amped, like they're like, all right, yeah, you want to bring that energy, like I'll bring it back to you, you know. So that's what I love. Like I love when the energy is pushed back on me, and then I feel like we're gonna fight, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's always good.
Mean, bro. Now, before we wrap it up, I want to say, what's something, could be something you've heard recently, something on your head, maybe something you want to say to yourself in the future, something, for the world.
Yeah.
Bro, this is your time. You can just say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say, man, just watch it all happen. Like, if you are following me now, if you've been following me since way back when, like I appreciate yous, and like this is like just the beginning for me, you know. Like, there's gonna be I've got a crazy career ahead of me. I know there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, but I'm like always like looking forward for great things. I wish great things for myself. I hope to be, I genuinely hope to be one of the best MMA fighters that ever lived. And that's what I've said to myself since day dot. I believe I have like all the skills, the mindset, and the physicality for it. So, yeah, I believe it'll happen. I believe I'll be up there. So, compare me to the greats.
Because you're going to be one of them one day, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother, for coming in today. Really appreciate the chat, bro. Thank you for being open and honest. And fuck, bro, can't wait to see where we are in the next few years.
Shot, bro.
As always, guys, do what makes you happy, do what you know is right, and do what you need to do for you. Love yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you later.